Keith Dykes here with W.K.D Construction, and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we are going to be installing the handrails for the last part of the custom metal stair stringers that we built here in the pool house, man. And if you haven't caught the other parts to installing these stairs, go ahead and I will put a link, a little tab right up here or here, I don't remember which one, but I'll put a little link and you can go ahead and catch up on the full installation from the stair stringers to making the treads, and yeah, so just go back, binge watch it. So this is what we have, is a 2-inch square tubing with a bottom plate welded on. Everything's powder coated, everything is pre-drilled. This is the one that sits on the tread. We've got the tread post, and then we also have up top platform, or I guess the landing kind of area up top. So those are drilled straight. These are drilled skewed to match the angle of the stairs. So we're basically going to install them like so. And then come back. I've got some lag bolts, some black epoxy coated lag bolts, 2-inch. I think I got some 2 and 3-inch, I think. But yeah, we'll pre-drill into the oak treads, get everything leveled, plumbed up, and then just bolt them right down through the bottom flange. This is gonna be nice. Once we get all of the posts set, Jay has tapped right here on the top. He's drilled and tapped. We will put a 2-inch flat bar across the top. That way, because we're going to use a I don't know how wide, maybe a 3-inch white oak rail cap. So that bar, we can drill into that and then fasten the white oak to the railing, and it be nice and sturdy. So I'm going to try to get these posts laid out. We got a post that goes on this top tread, on the bottom tread, and then we'll have a 2-inch wide by 1/4-inch flat bar that goes on top to hold everything stiff. So we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 8 that go on the steps, and then we've got a few that go on the landing, and then of course we're going to come around the top right here. Still not snug? No. Snug it up. Washer's gonna be off center. Oh, no more. Yep. Stabella. Look at. Oh my goodness. So I'm using the. I got the 3-inch screws here in the back because. If you've seen my video, if not, go back and watch it on how to make the 3-inch stair treads. But in the middle, I have plywood, so I'm using a 3-inch screw to get it down into this bottom layer of the white oak. That way, it gets some really holding power. And on the outside, this is all solid oak, so we're just going to use the 2-inch screws on the outside. We got the first post set. We don't have it super tight because we're gonna have to probably shim and get the post where it needs to be, perfectly plumb. We got some composite shims, or we may even use a washer or two to get underneath there to make it shim correctly to get it where it will stay plumb. I think before we go too crazy and just start impacting the hell out of the screws, just because it's white oak and it can break a screw just like that, I think we'll go ahead and get our posts set. We'll pre-drill them and then just use a socket and a ratchet and just hand tighten and get the threads embedded into the oak, and then take it out, and then probably just not use the impact at all, just because I just don't want to risk breaking a bolt, because all it takes is just a second, man. It hits tight and that son of a bitch will break. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead, get our holes drilled, take a socket and a ratchet, and just hand drive them in there and get our threads embedded into the oak. It scares me. Just use the square. You can use the square to try to get your drill pretty straight. So here's our lag bolts, but we used a 3/16 inch pilot hole to pre-drill, but this little collar right here, it almost started to bust the end grain, so we went up 2 more sizes and drilled down about 1 inch the thickness of that collar, because this collar is just a tad wider than the 3/16. So we like I said, pre-drilled, went up 2 more sizes just to get that collar some relief where it won't tend to split the end of that grain. Especially it's vulnerable to do that, since it's right here on so close to the edge too. Right here is not so bad, but definitely here. Well, we've got all the holes drilled, and like I said, we screwed all of the lag bolts down in through there, and we're starting to install a couple of the posts on the stairs, and Brent's just leveling it up, plumbing it up. I'm probably gonna have to use some composite shims. There's right here, kind of sneak under the corner. Oh, just a hair more. Oh, go that side, yeah, that's good. Yeah. These plates, when they get welded up, they get hot and they kind of warp a little bit, so it's kind of got a little camber to them, just a little bit. Jay welded this in there flush, drilled and tapped it. So now that we can put a bit, or a countersink bit, drill a hole, countersink bit, and then we can screw the top rail into each post. So to keep everything straight, we've got the level and down and then we'll just use it as a straight edge to keep our post in line, and then we'll just keep the same 3/8 reveal here and here. And then it's gonna be a little big, but I think it'll be fine. All right. You gonna be able to sneak it in there? Yeah. So ideally this should be this thing. This might not be long enough to do that. It might be. And just a hair. Just slide it all the way in, and then we'll see what we got. Slide all. Okay, there to there. What's the difference? It's out just. Yeah, it's out a little bit. Let's cheat it just a little bit.
That's why you don't use an impact. Hand tighten that boy.
That white oak is hard.
You start it.
It's hard work. Nice. So we just use the Stabila level as a straight edge because that sucker is on point. But I just put the edge against here, run it up, touched here, and that way I know this, once I come down here and eyeball it, yeah, can't get through that. Everything will be in line. Here are the composite shims that I use. I just get these at Lowe's. They work really well. Of course, they're not going to squish really like wood, so they hold up pretty good. Been using them for just a little bit. But you can see the shims just hanging out. I'm just going to take it and just kind of cut it off. Well, all of the posts on the stair part are installed, so we're going to move upstairs and work around the stair opening. Six and 3/4 to the very edge.
Round.
To the very edge. So we got the level, just using it as a straight edge, that way our flanges stay nice and straight. And then we'll do the same thing right here. We'll set that end one and then make sure that middle one is, we'll set that end one and then make sure the middle one is in line. Another reason why I love my Stabila 7 to 12 foot plate level. That some bitch is straight. Just take it out of the way, I guess.
Hello.
Hello.
Never mind.
What do we have, a quarter?
Yeah.
To find center of the holes, the self-centering bit or the VIX bit, man, that thing works like a champ. It really does. That fits perfectly in the hole. That way we don't have to guess, and it move the post from side to side whenever you try to anchor it down into the floor. Whoop. Just measured the full length, split it in half, and we'll just put a rail right in the center, or a post in the center rather. And for the location of the post, see how I went over a 1/4 inch onto the stair nose molding. Originally I was going to have it back here, but I was afraid that it would push the floor down, so we scooted it over and got a 1/4 inch on there. That way it's holding this. People stepping on here, it's going to hold it down a lot, you know, just hella better. So yeah, you can kind of see it just helps hold it down. Yes, sir. All of the posts are set, and the cable rail stuff, the fittings and the cable are on order, and that is going to be, it's going to be nice. It is going to be looking good. I think we're going to go with black. So I haven't done the black yet. Pretty excited about that. I think it's really going to look super sleek. And then I got to go next week and I'll pick up some 4/4, or well, maybe even 5/4 white oak for the rail cap, and we'll get that all put together. And hopefully, I think I'm gonna get it with the Lamello biscuit joiner, get into some fancy stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that. But here we go. We're gonna get it here in a few days. Just to check, we're gonna leave that. I'm not gonna put a post here. I thought about Dave made a post for that, but I think I'm just gonna leave it off, and then we can bring the rail and do whatever we want to. May bring it up and tie it into the wall there. But so everything, I'm gonna try to get all the handrail to tie in together everywhere. Yes, sir. The day is here. I finally got all of my cable railing components in, and I'll show you what we got. It's a Handi Swage. I've used these on a couple different projects and I like them, and I got all the tools, so I just stuck with a Handi Swage. I did a lot of searching, and the Handi Swage though, the only thing Handi Swage, I could not find black cable, and I really wanted the black cable because, man, I think the black cable's really gonna be really sleek. But I looked around on Amazon. You find everything on Amazon. Black 1/8 inch stainless steel cable. Just got some sort of coating on it that I guess dyes it black. It's not meant for outside applications, but definitely for inside, interior applications. So I guess maybe the coating will come off if you put it outside. So I'll put a link in the description for this. But here are the components. We've got a cover nut, because each stud, this is a stud. Take one of these out of the pack. So this is a swage fitting, which means it's a crimp fitting. The wire goes in, the cable goes in here, and you crimp this thing 3 times. It's threaded on one side. It's got these little nut package. It's got a little washer nut and then a nut cover. Here's a stair spacer. It's got a little wedge. That way when we put it right here, it will fit the exact angle of the stairs. These are 34 degrees. I think they had about 4 different angle options you can buy these, so make sure you get the right angle. But yep, and then I could not get these in black. So I think I'm gonna have something special for you on this. I think I'm gonna heat shrink get some heat shrink tape, put on there and heat it on. That way when you're just looking at it, it's gonna look black. So I'm kind of excited. So the next thing is I'm gonna get Brent and Steve. They'll start. We can go ahead and put these on since I've got the metal rail caps on there. That way it's not gonna pull my post in together. We can kind of get all of our cables made up. That way once we get the wood white oak cap and put it on there, all we have to do is just tighten them up. We can go ahead and just kind of get them in there and fit in there loose. But yes sir, let's get at it. All right, as you can see, I have this post removed. Well, when Jay he built all the posts, he had anticipated a 2-post corner. And then once I kind of set it out and got it figured out, I didn't really like the look of the 2 posts. So we had to do some thinking on the fly. So what I came up with is, I took these back to Jay yesterday and he tapped them. I'll show you. Instead of that way, if I had these holes drilled all the way through, if I can get it through there. Holy cow. So if you have that one going through there, your other stud needs to go here, so you wouldn't be able to drill it all the way through unless it was off center, and I didn't want that. These are threaded, so I just had Jay drill and tap. So now I can run the one stud all the way through, put the nut cap here, and on this side it'll just be tapped. And then I can cut this to length, whatever I need to. All right, we're fixing to start figuring out our cable lengths here on the stringer part. And here is a stud, standard stud. Here is the stair spacer at a 34-degree angle. Then the little nut cover package comes with a plastic washer, a nut, and then here's the cap. Cap goes on there, and once it gets onto the stair post, it fits the angle of the stairs. So after that all gets put together, then we'll just stick through the hole. See how that fits perfectly. Jay drilled the hole at a perfect, I think is actually 35 degrees, 34 and a half. But I mean, you got there's a little slop in there. But that's it, that's how it works. We'll go ahead on the bottom side, put one in there, and then I'll measure from this end to that end. Once I get my studs into the post, then I'll measure from here to the other stud. All I do is just take the cable, stick it in there. So I know this is 1.5 inches per stud, so I'm gonna add 3 inches to the total length from stud to stud. And I'll have enough adjustment later that when I tighten it up, it will be plenty. This is the Swage tool, which, like I said, it just crimps the stud onto the cable. Where's the bottom every time? Let's go 69 and 5/8. Let's check the top here. Just to make sure. Yeah, sure. All right. All right. All right. So as you swage, there's three crimps, and you turn it a half turn or a quarter turn on every crimp. So you have 1, 2, 3. We'll go ahead and do a test fit so I don't mess up again. Brent said, "Did you add the 3 inches?" I was like, "Hell no, I didn't add it." Damn it. We on the bottom?
Yeah.
How much you got? The ½ inch, Fred?
No, about a quarter.
Yeah, I got quarter. So yeah, that'll work perfect. Yes, that'll work. So like that, I'm gonna cover that up. I'm gonna heat shrink tape that right there. So we'll cover up that little 1.5 inches. So it'll be all black. And of course cap will go on after the fact if I get it on there. Oh, here we go.
Let's dry some hair up in here.
Factory fit. Ooh, that is the shit. Shit. Check this out. Black, of course, with the cap on there, but man, that looks fantastic. Yep. So we're just gonna go ahead on this top side. We'll just go ahead and put the nut covers on this end, and then once we get down to here, we can go ahead and then adjust it, pull the slack out of it, and then because you have to cut the end of those threads off the stud, you got to cut them off to length after you get it to tension. And we're not really going to tension it right now a whole lot until we get the white oak cap. That way we know that top rail is not going to flex. That looks fire. Very good. Beautiful. We're just setting up a cable making factory. This heat shrink tubing is 3/16 inch inside diameter. So I'm having to put it on the cable first because it will not fit over the threads of the stud. But once we crimp it, it slips onto the the shaft part very easy, or just enough. So that's what we're doing, just threading the heat shrink tubing first. Dang. A little more. There you go. And then that way we can just slide it on, and then heat shrink, or use the heat gun and shrink it up. So we're not going crazy and just making them all at one time. We're just doing one section at a time, checking top and bottom just to make sure. That way, because I mean, once you crimp it on there, you're committed, and you could be goofed up. It's not like you can save the studs or the cable. So just make sure you're right before you start going. All right, so on the side that Jay tapped the post for me, I should have bought the short studs. They do make a short stud. Well, I didn't, and I just got the regular size studs, and then I just put 2 nuts on there, and then Steve cut them with a grinder, and then took the nut off. That way it kept the threads clean. But so we're making our own short stud. Like I said, I should have bought the short stud that they have. I was afraid it might look a little different, but I don't think it does. And then on my heat shrink tape, or heat shrink tubing, I'm just going to run it up onto the thread a little bit, shrink it, and then when I tighten it into the post, hopefully it will mushroom against, mushroom out against the post, and you won't be able to see any chrome in there, or stainless. So that's my plan. Let's hope it works. We'll kind of do this cable a little different since we have this one tapped. Steve had to cut these, so they're kind of a little hard to get started, just because we cut them. So I didn't put the heat shrink tape on there yet. That way I can use channel locks, and then I'm just pushing this up over the top and then shrinking it after I get it onto the post. On the first one, the stud that we cut off, I tried to shrink wrap. I was hoping it'd mushroom, but it did, but it didn't look very good. So that's why I decided to just shrink them after we put the stud into the post, because it made it look cleaner. There was the first one. Kind of see it kind of boogered up a little bit, and these are the other ones. All right, y'all. I have got to stop the video right here, because I've been doing a lot of editing, and I said this was going to be the final one, but It's not. I can't do it because if I do it, it's going to be over an hour long because there is some fire material on the white oak stair cap, man. It really turned out cool. So I don't want to make this video super, super long. And that is why I'm going to stop the video right here. Really looking forward to trying to get it all in one video, but it ain't going to happen. So I'm going to break it into two. So I don't know if you see anything. You see anything over there? Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Got that award right there, that silver award. Thank y'all for giving me that right there. That is awesome. Love y'all. So y'all gots to come back next week and watch us. You got to watch us install the white oak rail cap. So once again, I'm Keith Dykes. This is the post and cable railing video for the metal floating stair stringers here at the pool house. Whew. That was a mouthful. But thanks for watching and got it, coach.